Okay, Claire, so if it's okay with you, we're just recording this session. I wanted to ask you a few questions about your experience over the last 6 months of training with us in the academy. So first of all, can you tell me, what was it like? What was life like for you before you actually joined back at the beginning of the year?
Before, at the beginning of the year, I was so stressed out, burnt out, and just overwhelmed. I wasn't enjoying life. I felt numb. I felt like I was just surviving, just existing, really. I was taking everything out on the people around me, the people closest to me, and I just didn't get any enjoyment out of being a mum, being here. It was just, yeah, pretty much.
So what was it that made you take that step and actually book a call and have a chat about the program, about working with us?
I think it was, I don't know whether it was right place at the right time, or I was finally ready to make that step, because I think, I've probably been like this for a couple of years, where I think, oh, I will sort myself out, I will try this. And you try doing a bit of exercise, or you try chatting to your friends, but a year or 2 years, 3 years go by and you're sort of like, oh, I'm still moaning about the same things. I think enough's enough when you start into, for me personally as a mum, you're starting to see it affecting your children. And that was sort of like that trigger point for me, where I was like, right, enough's enough. I need to sort of like start looking for things. And somebody shared the Emotional Health Coach Academy page, and I just sort of like thought, oh, okay. And then I hopped on a call, and the rest was history.
No, it's brilliant. It's so true what you say. You can try all those things, like you mentioned, exercise, talking to your friends, and we try all these different things, but still we end up in that same position. And I think that happens to a lot of people. And exactly the same as you, Claire, years and years and years ago, my straw that broke the camel's back moment, if you like, was seeing the impact how I was feeling was having on my children. I exactly the same as you. It was like, okay, I need to move forward now. So totally relate to that. So when you saw the program and we had that chat, what was it for you that clicked? What was it for you that what was the moment when you knew the program was going to help you?
I think obviously you gel with someone. I think it's all about personality for me, and if I'm not getting a good vibe from someone, I'm probably not going to work with them. But I felt comfortable from the minute to be honest, comfortable from the minute I did that recorded training session, because I couldn't make the live that you did, but you sent it to me via email, and everything you were saying, I was actually watching it and listening to it while I was doing the ironing. My children were out with their dad, and everything that was being said, I was just sort of like, yeah, I care about people. Yeah, I'd love to help people. There was just everything that you were saying. I was like, yeah, I could see myself working with this person, because you've got the same values, the same. You want the same things out of life. You want to help people, and I'm so passionate about that. But I'm not I don't feel like I could go down the psychology route, or sort of too in depth for me. This was good. It was the right path.
Yeah. I again, everything that you're saying makes sense. It's like, you think, if I'm going to help someone as a coach or a therapist, then maybe I need to have a degree, and it's not the case. You don't need to have that heavy study. You can, and it's great.
It was worrying, because I was sort of like, oh gosh, I might have to go and study for 4 years to become a psychotherapist, or I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I wanted something that I could do while I'm working, while I'm with the children, something that fit in with me. And there was no, you have to get this done in this time, or there was no pressure, and it was a comfortable learning environment.
Yeah,
for me.
sure. Hello. Yeah, it's right, and I think it's really important. I put the program together. I put the program together. Hi there. Hello. How you doing? It's a lovely smile and wave. So I put the program together specifically so that it would work for working mums. So yeah, absolutely. I put the program together so that it would work whilst you were looking after your children and going to work. So hopefully just the right amount of time.
And there wasn't the pressure. So, you know, if there was one week where it was really busy for me, either with work or with the children, or the kids were ill, it wasn't like, why haven't you done this, or you needed to get this done this week, otherwise you're going to be behind. There was no pressure. It was, you go at your own pace. Do you need any help in between? You know, let me know if you get stuck. That's, you know, it was just, yeah, the pressure wasn't on. And when you've got quite a pressured life anyway, I think you need that, otherwise you're sort of setting yourself up to fail a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to make things as simple as possible, don't we? Sure. So what reservations did you have, if any, before joining us?
Probably, can I do it? Because I mean, after doing the course, I realised that my self-esteem wasn't brilliant, although I didn't realise it quite so much at the time. I feel that I was like, oh yeah, I'll commit to it, but I start something and then I don't finish it. It gets too hard or it gets too intense, and I think, oh, but I stuck with it, and yeah, it was good. I'm pleased I did.
I'm pleased you did. It's interesting though, you mentioned that, you know, you noticed that your self-esteem wasn't quite where it should have been, and that you found things difficult to complete in the past. What was it about the program that you think made it easy for you to keep coming back and get it finished? What was the thing that made that possible for you?
I think, I mean, once I'd got over maybe the first one or two sessions where it was, you know, the introductions and the talking, and I realised, you know, what was definitely going to be happening. I think maybe, yeah, before that, I thought, oh gosh, you know, I'll try this, see how I get on. If it doesn't come to anything, it doesn't come to anything, but I'll give it a go. Then I sort of like started and thought, oh, this might be quite hard, but you know, I'll commit to it and I'll be myself. And then it got a little bit sort of like, oh, this is getting a little bit deep. I'm finding out things that probably I didn't realize I was going to be not maybe talking about, but I don't know, it was the honesty. And I was very, when I first started it, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be really honest, and I'm going to try my best to go with the flow, because obviously I was learning the process, but actually taking part in the sessions as well, I was sort of like, oh, I already know everything. I know what I need to be doing. I just need to put it all into practice. And then I was sort of like, I don't know everything. And I'm finding out things about myself that I just didn't know was there, and it sort of like pulled it out of me. And I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah,
it's a bit of a magical process, really.
It's a strange process, because you know, like when I am such a person that I'm just sort of like, oh, you know, I probably won't stick with it. I enjoyed going back to the sessions. I looked forward to that week, or you know, I had 2 sessions a week, so, or 3 with my sessions with Kimberly. But I enjoyed going to the sessions. I liked that, oh, it's Monday or it's Tuesday, I'm going to have another session tonight, and it was exciting, and I was interested in it. I was interested in the subject, so that's what kept me going back. It was my interest, and it was also sort of like a bit of a relief as well, because once you'd started talking about a few things, it was like, okay, I'm not crazy.
It's a fascinating subject, isn't it? And I think the way that we approach the training, you learn an awful lot about yourself that you perhaps didn't really realise that was there.
Yeah.
And
others around you as well, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, you
which
learn
is quite nice.
Yeah.
There was some, obviously I related a lot of it to myself, but there were a lot of times where I was sort of like, oh, so and so does that, or now I realize why she's like she is. Yeah, so that was quite interesting.
It's once you learn it and start to spot it with people, you can't not, can you?
No.
It's just once it's there.
And interestingly, it changed my mindset, changed my perspective, and I wasn't I wasn't as harsh on myself, but I'm not as harsh on other people now. Because sometimes I sort of like think, oh well, you know, so and so's taken that they're in a bad mood and they took it out on me, and that was uncalled for, that wasn't fair. But now I'm sort of like, it was their issue, they might be, you know, a bit stressed or this, that and the other. That was me not so long ago, and I used to sit and I used to think, oh god, I'm so sorry about it. But I feel like I've matured now. I feel like I'm, you know, they've had their moment, it doesn't matter, it doesn't even need an apology sometimes, you know, they've had a bad day, it's fine, let's just get over it. It's amazing how your mindset and your perspective just changes just by accepting yourself and accepting other people.
Yeah, you don't need to take it on all the time, do you?
No, really good point. It's not about me.
So what's the program done for you? What do you think it's done
what's
for
it done for me? It's lifted a massive weight off my shoulders. I know myself better, which I'm really grateful for. And I know when I need rest, and I know when I need to sort of take a step back because I'm doing too much or trying to work too hard. I'm present with my children, and that was probably the biggest aim for me. Was to actually enjoy being with them without it being forced. And they are different with me as well. It's not tense all the time. My family dynamic, I think, is definitely better. What's he doing? Is definitely better. It's calmer. I don't react as much. I can't, there's not one thing where I could say, oh, it's done this for me. It's just changed my life. It's brought balance, it's brought peace, and I know that I'm quite a calm person anyway, and it's just sort of restored that calmness in me. And I just, you know, when I go to work, when I'm at home, I just feel more peaceful. I'm not ready to react from the minute I will wake up in the morning. I can take on a lot more, and it doesn't get to me because I haven't got this overwhelming pressure like I'm about to explode.
Yeah. Did you feel that was possible? Is this the kind of impact, the train, you know, is it what you thought was going to happen? Did you expect this impact on you?
I didn't expect to be quite as calm as what I was. I think when I first started, I was sort of like, I don't see how this is going to change me and I'm going to be happy all the time, because I feel like if I'm going to be helping my mental health and well-being, I assume that I'm going to be happy all the time and it's going to make me this happy bubbly person. Actually, I've never been like that, even probably as a child. Now I look at my child and I think, why are you so miserable? Oh, that was me. But yeah, I thought that I was going to be this happy person all the time, and then once I've realized that, well, no, because life still actually gets in the way, you know, work still happens, my children, you know, I have a 2-year-old, my child still has tantrums a hell of a lot, and I am so much calmer with her, but it still happens. It's still stressful. It's still, you know, I still sometimes have to carry her out of the shop kicking and screaming. That's still going to happen. That's still not very nice, but I'm not sitting in the car crying now. Yeah. I'm like, oh, you know, she didn't want to be there. She was just acting up. Let's just get in, get out and get home. And that's fine. But, you know, I'm doing that with my first child. I sat in the car and I cried.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, I expected to come to the end of it and be this happy person all the time, quickly realizing that's not going to happen because life still gets in the way. And now I'm at this point where when the tough times do sort of come my way in life, I'm not thrown on my bum. I'm sort of like, it's fine. I might need to take a bit of time out, but I know, because I've met myself again. So I know how to manage it and what I need to get over the hurdles, really.
That's a really, really good point. And I love the way you describe that, because it really is, isn't it? You know, life is still going to throw things at you. Everything's still going to happen. It doesn't change that, but it's your perception and the way that you respond, and we become less reactive to things. The things that would have stressed us out or upset us or made us frustrated, they just don't do that anymore, do they? You keep on this nice, calm level. And brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So what's been your biggest breakthrough, do you think, or your biggest light bulb moment?
It's just outside, darling. Okay, all right, I won't be too long. All right, I'll be out before you go to bed. My biggest light bulb moment, probably when I don't know whether it was sort of week 4 or 5, when we started to talk about self-esteem, or we would talk about lots of different subjects, but that it always seemed to come back to self-esteem. And like I said before, I didn't think I had so much of an issue with that. I thought that I would be very much like, I know myself and I know what I need, but actually once I started chipping away at the pieces, everything seemed to come back to self-esteem. With myself, with the other lady that was on the course, it was always a self-esteem thing. And I just didn't get that to start off with. I thought I had this. I thought I was quite confident. But actually that I was probably the total opposite, and I was probably overcompensating a little bit. So it was when, I'd say probably session 4. And I was sort of like, okay, keep starting to come back to self-esteem again.
Some clues here.
And every little thing was coming back to it. Social anxiety came back to how I might have felt about myself, or confidence is coming back to that. My thinking styles sometimes came back to that, and I'm like, oh, okay, need to work on that.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Your self-esteem only needs to be a little bit lower than where it ought to be for it to start causing these huge amounts of problems. So big light bulb moment. So was it hard at any point? We've just been working together for 6 months with the business modules as well. So was it hard at any point? And did you ever think, oh, what am I doing this for? Why have I got myself into this?
I would actually say the first sort of month or 2 was quite hard, in the respect that you're obviously talking to yourself a lot, and you're figuring out what's going on in your head, and that's tiring and draining. That was a very difficult time, but I still enjoyed coming to the sessions, but I felt like a lot of tiredness, because I was constantly trying to figure out what was going on in my head and listening to myself, and it was quite draining, because when you actually pay attention, I don't think you realise how much you're sabotaging yourself, really. And that's quite sad, but a hell of a lot of us do it. But that was tough. And then when you're going through the process as well, tough in a good way though, because it makes you come back for more, because you're sort of like, oh, what can we get in, what are we going to learn this week, what are we going to discuss, what we're going to bring up. And then it was just, I felt quite emotionally draining, but in a good way. And I cried a lot as well in the sessions as well, but in a good way. It was a good relief, and it was a safe space for me to open up to, which was nice. So I didn't feel like I couldn't be myself, or I couldn't talk about anything. It felt safe. I felt that I could open up and I could have a cry if I had to.
Yeah, you're not the only one who has ever gone through this training and felt like that, because I think that exactly as you said there, we have that inner dialogue and it is very self-sabotaging. And if you don't pay attention to it, if you're not aware of it, it feels real, and it feels like this is what life is like for you. When we start chipping away at those things and we start changing, that realization of, actually, I might have been doing this to myself unwittingly. We all do it to ourselves without realizing. And then you have that switch, don't you, where you think, oh, if I've been doing that, I can undo it then. Let's come back and find out how we're going to undo this so that I can create what I want to create.
And the positivity as well. I found that I am quite a positive person with other people, but your negative thought process, you don't realize that, oh, well, that always happens to me because I'm pretty prone to bad luck, or oh, it's just another thing that's just going to happen to me because I'm not lucky, or this, that, and the other. Now I'm sort of like, oh, well, it's one of those things. Onwards and upwards, or on to the next thing. It's not this big effort, or it's not something that's just adding on to the little negativity pile. I could just brush it off now, and it's changing that perspective, and it's just a huge sense of relief, this course is. And my hardest part with the business side is probably just trying to sort of accept that I'm going to put myself out on social media, again, because I'm not I don't put a lot on social media anyway. So to put sort of pictures and videos, I was a bit sort of like, oh, but I also I enjoy making it, but actually putting it out for people to comment and see it freaks me out a little bit. But it's the easiest way for me to be seen, and I want to help people, and that's bigger than my fear of being seen on social media. So
I think that's a normal concern to have. And I have to say, your social media has been absolutely brilliant this last week, because you've only launched your business a week ago, and everything that you've done has been so good, and you've had such a terrific response. So well done, absolutely well done for that. So tell me now, well, before I ask you what you're going to be doing next, if I were to ask you for 3 words to describe the program, what 3 words would you use?
Ooh. Fun, because I've really enjoyed myself. Emotional, get your tissues at the ready. And what's the word I'm trying to say? It's like full of knowledge. Informative,
yeah. Informative,
possibly fun, that.
And emotional.
Yeah. Informative in the respect that I've learned a lot of things on the course, both the emotional side and the business side. Fun, I've just loved it. And emotional, definitely. That's sort of in the title, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a bit of a clue there. All right, so what's happening for you now? What's going on with your life? What is different from where you were to where you are now, and what are you excited about next? Loads of questions there.
So I'm working part-time in a school, and I'm just beginning to launch my emotional health coaching business, and I started that this week. So I've got my little plan of action to get me kickstarted with a website in September, and just take it from there, really. So I'm working on my content and building a business, and hopefully getting some clients and helping people improve their lives like I've improved mine.
Yeah, brilliant. It's really exciting, and I'm so pleased for you. And I know you're going to be absolutely brilliant at this, Claire. Is there any advice that you would give to somebody who is maybe sitting on the fence and thinking, I like the idea, but I'm not sure? What would you say to them?
Yeah, if if I were to talk to myself and to other people who were sat on the fence or still sitting on the fence, is you're never ready. You never feel ready. There's always going to be an excuse. There's always going to be something that you just think, oh, I'll do it then. I'll do it when the kids have gone back to school. I'll do it when I've changed jobs. It can be anything, can't it? You're never going to be ready. If you're interested in something and you want to take that step, don't keep waiting. Because you're never fully ready. You have to take a jump, because you will. When I say ready, I don't mean financially, physically, mentally ready. I just mean you'll always find something to throw a bit of a spanner in the works for a reason why you're not. So stop making excuses. Stop trying to find excuses and take a jump. Just go for it.
Yeah, it's really good advice. Very, very good advice, because it's so worth it, isn't it? That transformation. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. So thank you very much for your time this evening. If anyone's watching this, Claire, and they're thinking, I'd like to know what Claire's doing, I can relate to everything that she said there. How can they find you?
So at the moment, they can find me on social media, on Facebook and on Instagram. So it's Claire Sammons Emotional Health Coach. So I've got a page on each. And then hopefully my website will get up and running in September. So you'll be able to find me on my website eventually. But yeah, so follow me on social media.
Do you have your website URL yet, or is that
not yet?
Okay.
No,
all right,
not quite there yet.
When you know it, we'll share it. We'll share it with this video, but in the meantime, it's just on social media. Yeah. Claire, I have absolutely loved working with you. You've been so much fun. You've had such a massive transformation, and it's been absolutely beautiful to see. When we first spoke, I knew that this would be perfect and you'd be a perfect fit for the Academy and for this course, and to go out and help others. And I cannot wait to see what happens in the next 6 months with your business. I'm really excited for you. Thank you so much for your time.
And thank you for everything you've done, because it wouldn't have been possible without you. So
oh, thank you. And we'll speak to you soon.